As always, homies, thank you guys so much for clicking on the video. Look, we're back with another episode of Do Not Buy. If you guys are new to my channel, Do Not Buy is basically a review series, okay? It's a review satire series on just basically, should you buy this game, should you not, the good, the bad, the ugly, and kind of give it just a full-on review. Now, the thing about this series is that I try to have fun within these videos because I'm the type of person, I don't like just like reading from a piece of paper. I get a little bit bored, so I want to put my own personality spins on it. If you love it, you love it, and I thank you guys so much. So let's jump into The Surge 2. Okay, so let's start it out, right? As always, homies, we back with the foolishness. Now you guys know what I want. I want to hear from you guys in the comment section, homies. Okay, so look, here's the thing, right? The Surge 2 did a lot of things right. I actually did like it. You guys know how I feel about Dark Souls feel type of video games. I love Dark Souls, Bloodborne, you know what I'm saying? All of these games are super fun to me. So playing another one that actually did a good job with the formula and twisting it to making it their own, I love it. I think that stuff is really cool. So one thing with the Surge 1 and Surge 2 is that they took a lot of things that work from the Surge 1 and brought it to Surge 2, which is what I expect every sequel to do. If I love something in the first one, can you not lose it in the second one? Can you bring it back and just build up on it and build that foundation around it? You know what I mean? So that's exactly what they did. So they brought that to the Surge 2. Now, I will not lie to you guys. Let me go ahead and tell the truth right here at the start. I played this on PC. I got an early copy for it on PC. And I was playing through it. And I was like, okay, everything's great. So I went ahead and bought it on PS4 because I try to review the games on PC and PS4 to see how they run. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm not. The PS4 copy was running not so good. The performance issues and stuff on it, basically what you need for your reaction timing and how you're going through with your mechanics, it just felt off. It definitely needs an update or two to basically get everything going with the Surge 2 on PS4. And I was running it on the PS4 Pro. So that's one thing I want to put out there is watch out. You know what I'm saying? If you're playing it on a PS4, it might seem a little bit janky, but I don't think that's just the whole game. I just feel like it might need an update. It's day one release, so that's something that we gotta wait on, right? So let's go ahead and continue. If you played the Surge 1, you will notice right away that enemy balancing in this game is 10 times better. In the Surge 1, boy, you used to clap, you are done. Finito, completely El Garbo. You are a Spanish fly. I don't know what that means, but let's continue. Because in the Surge 1, man, the enemy balancing was so terrible. But in here, they definitely did fix up on it. And I feel like that's a good keynote for them to continue, especially when you're going into New Game Plus. Now, one thing I did like about the Surge 2 is the elemental damages, right? Like you could be corroded, you could be set on fire, and these are different things that's going to be there like throughout the game. So I feel like I love that take on it with everything else being there. Some things with chemical waste, I'm like, bro, I didn't even step in it, but I was still corroded. But hey, that's me at the end of the day, right? The next thing I want to say is like boss fights. Okay, now this topic, I really want to speak on it because boss fights in anything like a Souls type game, because that's what Surge 2 was known for, is a Souls type game, sci-fi edition, right? The thing about this is boss fights in Dark Souls are immensely important. That's the game. That's where people feel the urge or the surge to continue with whatever it is that they're going with. The boss fights give you that fulfillment, right? In the Surge 2, not so much. Not so much, homies. Gotta tell you the truth. So the thing that goes through with the boss fights in the Surge 2 is that it feels really repetitive. You do the same thing, hurt the little arm, hurt a certain side, and keep going. It's so repetitive that after you finish the boss fights, you don't really get that feel of like, oh man, that felt good. Okay, so maybe the Surge 2 didn't want to just make the boss fights everything that you want in this game. Maybe they focused a little bit more on the environments, the zones. One thing I will say is that that is a downfall in the Surge 2. It really is. Like when I look at the Surge 2 and you go to different zones, the one thing about the Surge 1 is that when you were going to different zones, different areas, each area felt different. It gave you a different feel to it. In Surge 2, it definitely feels a little bit copy and paste when you go to different areas. Like the zones all feel the same. They all kind of look the same. You're going up to the rooftops, you're jumping down, keep going. Now, the whole objective of this game is basically to keep going through these zones, fight all your way through, stay out there as long as you can. The longer that you're out there, the greater reward then you get back to these med zones, right? So once you get back to the med bay, aka zone is what I call it, you're going to go through, you're going to get points, you're going to level up, go through your gear, get everything to go through. Now, you could come up with your own builds. You guys know how much I love me some good old builds. You could go through builds, do everything that you want. Now, one thing I do like is that they added a little feature that kind of reminded me of Sekiro. Kind of like Sekiro, or we could just call it a Batman utility belt gadget. Okay, so you get like a drone with you. You can add different things to the drone, go through. You use it in specific circumstances to basically help yourself out. You know, like in Sekiro, when you use those attachments basically to not mess up, and you can go through and be like, oh, I have this, let me use it at the right time. And it can give you the advantages in the fight. The way you go through, level up, go through, and just like cut off people's limbs, go through different parts, I enjoyed that a lot. I think that's really fun. Now, don't get me wrong, the Surge doesn't really have that much negatives going for it. And at the same time, it just feels like it's a good game. So if you like the Surge 1 and you felt like they built upon it on the Surge 2, they did a good job. There's some things that they did leave out that I was basically looking at it like, this is a little bit off. But one thing I will say to add to it again is enemies. The enemies that you're going to come across. One thing I did love in the Surge 2 is the unique type of enemies that you fight. There's a lot of different variations, and I did like the variations. Like, I looked at it, I was like, yo, who you? Hey, who you? Hey, you look different. That's cool, right? Now, one thing I will say, there's a counter system in here. There's a counter system that's basically like, you guys all know, you played For Honor. Oh, the For Honor community, I know, right? So you know when an enemy is going to attack and you gotta like lean one way and deflect it to block and do everything? It's the same in the Surge 2. Vertical, diagonal, all these type of different attacks that's coming up, and that's gonna really pave the way to really set the skill difference between certain type of players, because there is New Game Plus in here, which is quote-unquote end game. You guys know how I love me some end game. So whenever you're going through all that, it's really gonna set the difference to what type of player you are and the skill gaps, okay? So that's one thing that's there. Now, one thing that I felt that was weird is with the For Honor counter system on how you're gonna reflect and parry and, you know, punish enemies. Bro, when you're in a group and you see a group of people running at you and you're trying to parry one dude and the other dude just clap the cheeks off you, pause, you get bodied in a group with that. So you really have to space enemies out and really think about how you want to use it. The cool thing about it is that it just doesn't force you to use it every fight. It just kind of depends on what type of person that you are. If you want to put it in your playstyle or you don't want to put it in your playstyle. And I love anything that gives me the chance to pick whatever it is I want to do without feeling forced to do it. Now, you guys know this, man. It wouldn't be a Souls type game if when you die, you couldn't go get your souls back, quote unquote, right? Yeah, they got this in here, but there's a twist to it. Whenever you die, you can run back to that spot like Dark Souls and try to collect your soul, right? The difference here is that you're timed. Yes, you're timed. So you have to race against the clock to really get there, to get your all of your belongings, your shirt, your shoes, everything's in the lost and found that you left there from the enemy, beating the taste out your mouth. And if the timer runs out, then you lose it. So it's kind of like a whole little skill gap there to where you can't waste any kind of time. You have to find your way back. Am I going to choose to fight these enemies, waste these times, run past these enemies, or actually go up there and get it, right? Now, like I said with the Surge 2, it did a lot of things great, right? Cool thing is making your loadouts, going in with your build, seeing what you want your build to be. I kind of did love all of those things about it. The nice variety of weapons. Now, the weapon variety felt great. It made you feel like either you want the Wolverine claws, you want the punch, you want the fist on the sock and boppers to punch people out, you want a sword. Whatever it is you want to go with, you want to get that tennis racket. You know, they try to call it something else. It's a tennis racket, bro. So whenever you go through this game, the variety of weapons, the variety of enemies, they do have a lot of quests there, though. There's a lot of quests in these zones from different type of NPCs that you can get to add to the story to do different things. I feel like that stuff is good because it adds to the element of you not trying to run through the game too quickly, and I think that stuff is fine. But the uninspired level design is something that really did hit me. The performance issues, which was terrible on the PS4, which is another thing. The boss fights, which wasn't as I would say rewarding, as fulfilling as you think that it should be. But don't let those take away from you. Is the Surge 2 a good game? It is. It's a good game. I can't even lie. It's a good game. But one thing I will say, I will give it probably like a 7.2, 7.3 out of 10. Not a bad game at all. I'll lean more to a 7.2. The thing about this is, with the Surge, is that what you got to understand, are you going to run out there and pick this game up out of other games that you have on your list? Not really. I'm going to be very honest with you. Unless you're a super fan of the Surge 1, it is not a game that you're going to be like, oh my god, Mom, I need the Surge 2. It's nothing like that. It's nothing like that, okay? The kids are probably still going to get V-Bucks. But it's a good game. And one thing I do love about this is that I felt like the Surge really hit their point by creating something that makes it their own. Yes, it went with the Souls type of genre, the Souls type of gameplay, but they kind of just went with that, made it sci-fi, and then turn it into what you would say is the Surge 2. It became its own game instead of just like a copy. It felt like its own thing. Like when you're playing it, you're gonna be like, I feel Dark Souls, but I more so feel like I'm playing a different game, which is what you want. The reaction timing in here to how you dodge, super quick. I love it, right? So on top of that, Surge 2, it's a fine game. It's a good game. It's what you want people to do after a sequel, to the point to where it doesn't just disrespect the sequel. So I like it. If you guys enjoyed the video, please be sure to drop a thumbs up on it. I hope that you guys did. Let me know what games you guys are excited for coming up. And please, it is a review. It is just a simple review. Do Not Buy series. I love it so much, and I'm glad that you guys are enjoying it. So thank you guys so much for the love and support. I'm gonna catch you guys later. By the way, guys, I won't have any videos up for about a good week. Reason why is because I'm gonna be gone at TwitchCon. If you guys are gonna be at TwitchCon, you can hit me up. I'm gonna be there. So I'll be at TwitchCon for a week, working with some sponsors, messing with some new games, some behind the scenes stuff that developers want me to look at. So I'm really excited about that. And then we're gonna start fresh, starting October 2nd. We're gonna be coming through with all the rest of the content, okay? So I love you guys. Take care, homies. Thank you so much for the love and support. Follow me on my social media, and I'll catch you guys later.